kamu ada soalan, 20 soalan objektif. Betul? Saya nak lihat sama ada format untuk semua sekolah sama atau tidak. Kalau ikutkan format soalan peperiksaan PT3, sejarah PT3, kamu sepatutnya ada 20 soalan objektif, 4 soalan struktur, dan 2 esei untuk dijawab. Yes or no? Or you don't know? I don't know because sometimes, yes, yeah, somebody say yes, but sometimes your teacher might modify. Okay, they might not, maybe they just give you 1 essay, maybe 2 struktur, I don't know. But kalau ikut format PT3, kamu ada 20 soalan objektif, 20 soalan objektif, 4 struktur, dan 2 esei. Ini adalah format PT3 untuk PT3 bermula daripada tahun 2019. Tetapi sekolah, oleh kerana tidak ada pemeriksaan PT3 untuk tahun ini, pihak sekolah yang akan mengemukakan soalan, jadi soalan anda mungkin diubah suai, formatnya mungkin diubah suai. Tetapi apabila saya mengajar, saya akan fokuskan ikut format PT3. Kerana kebanyakan sekolah akan ikut format PT3. Antara 3 bahagian ini, saya nak tanya kamu dulu, objektif, struktur, dan esei. Bahagian mana yang kamu hadapi masalah? Bahagian mana yang kamu rasa sukar untuk dijawab?
Struktur.
Struktur lain? Struktur. Esei? Esei objektif pun ada. Okey, esei. Okey, kebanyakan kamu hadapi masalah dalam bahagian esei, struktur dan esei. Okey. Bahagian struktur, bahagian esei. Jadi, saya akan bagi kamu beberapa contoh soalan untuk memberi kamu panduan bagaimana untuk jawab struktur dan esei kemudian nanti. Tapi fokus kelas hari ini dan minggu depan, cara menjawab kita akan bincang sambil kita belajar bahagian ini. Faham? Sambil saya mengajar kamu bab-bab tingkatan 1, 2 dan 3, sambil itu saya akan beri kamu contoh soalan struktur, contoh soalan esei dan menerangkan kepada kamu bagaimana nak jawab soalan tersebut. Okey? Sambil kita mengulang kaji pelajaran, sebab kita tidak ada masa untuk memperuntukkan 1 hari khas untuk bincang esei, 1 hari khas untuk bincang struktur. Tak cukup masa. So kita akan buat sambil kita belajar. Okey, kita mula dengan pelajaran tingkatan 1 dulu ya. Kita mula dengan pelajaran tingkatan 1. Saya harap kamu tahu ada berapa bab dalam pelajaran tingkatan 1. Kamu tahu ada berapa bab dalam pelajaran tingkatan 1? Kamu ada berapa bab? Kamu ada 8 bab untuk pelajaran tingkatan 1. Kamu ada 8 bab. So, kita tak mungkin habis ke semua bab ini kalau kita bincang dengan terperinci. Kamu kena faham apa yang saya nak lakukan ya. Kalau saya nak ajar kamu daripada awal, daripada katakan pengertian sejarah, sejarah bermaksud, kalau saya mula begitu, tak boleh habis. Sebab pelajaran tingkatan 1 untuk 1 tahun. Correct? Pelajaran tingkatan 2 untuk 1 tahun. Tingkatan 3 1 tahun. Kita ada 8 bab dan kita ada 2 kelas. Kelas minggu ini dan minggu depan membincangkan pelajaran tingkatan 1. Jadi saya perlu habis 8 bab dalam 2 kelas. You understand this or not? So please understand this. I have no time to go into details. But kalau kamu ada mana-mana bahagian yang kamu kurang faham, kamu mau saya terangkan dengan lebih lanjut, feel free to ask me. Okay, talk to me. Sir, can you explain this? I don't understand. Are you clear? So what I will be doing is, today we will do 4. Out of this 8, kita akan bincang 4 bab. Hari ini, minggu depan kita akan bincang 4 lagi bab. Tingkatan 1 dulu. Selepas habis kelas hari ini, saya minta kerjasama anda semua untuk segera duduk dan buat ulang kaji sendiri. So, 4 bab ni, kamu harus buat ulang kaji ya, sebelum kelas saya bermula pada minggu depan. Kamu faham? Jadi sebelum kelas bermula minggu depan, saya akan bagi anda ujian untuk 4 bab pertama ini. Are you clear? Form 1 ada berapa kelas kita akan peruntukkan? Kita akan peruntukkan berapa kelas untuk Form 1? 2 kelas. Kelas minggu ini dan kelas minggu depan, correct? Form 1 ada berapa bab? 8 bab. Jadi kita adilkan, kita bahagikan 8 bab ni kepada 2 kelas. 4 bab untuk kelas pada hari ini, 4 lagi bab minggu berikutnya, next week. So after 4 bab today, the first 4 bab today, I will send you the ujian. I want you to do the ujian. So you quickly revise all the 4 bab. You understand? Kamu ulang kaji 4 bab ni dengan seberapa segera yang boleh. Dan minggu depan kita akan buat 4 lagi bab tingkatan 1. Kemudian kamu buat ulang kaji. Kamu faham? Jadi pelajaran tingkatan 1 kamu habis dalam minggu depan. Dan kita akan mula dengan pelajaran tingkatan 2. Are you clear? So that kita boleh cover ke semua bab. Saya akan fokuskan misalnya bab 1. Bahagian mana yang kamu perlu beri tumpuan untuk soalan struktur? Bahagian mana dalam bab tingkatan 1 contohnya yang boleh ada soalan esei? Saya akan beritahu anda. Jadi kamu ada pen dan kertas? Ada bersama kamu? Kamu catatkan. Bahagian mana yang saya beritahu penting, catatkan. Selepas kamu catatkan, kamu peruntukkan masa. Okay, so already said this is important. Let me study about this. I don't understand. Why sir didn't discuss? Kamu ambil perhatian bahagian berkenaan. Minggu depan kamu boleh tanya saya. Got it? There must be a system. Mesti ada cara. Kita tak boleh. Okay, last step pelajaran tingkatan 1. Okay, blah. Don't want like that. There must be a system. So you understand the system first. 4 bab today. Next week 4 bab. After 4 bab, you're supposed to sit down and do all the work that I'm going to give you. After that, you'll do the ujian. If you have any problem for the 4 bab, then minggu depan kamu boleh tanya saya. The main purpose is to tell you which is the important area for what type of question. Are you clear? So no time to go into details, maksud sejarah, all this got no time. So, okay, we'll start dengan bab 1. Hope you understand, yeah? Please copy down, take down. You don't have nota, it's okay. You can just rely on textbook, follow the system that I give you. If you got buku ulang kaji, also fine. Anything, provided you study and you understand. Okay, we focus on pelajaran tingkatan 1 pada hari ini. Kita mula dengan bab 1. Apa tajuk bab 1? Kamu semua tahu tajuk mengenali sejarah, right? Mengenali sejarah. Ini sepatutnya merupakan bab yang paling mudah untuk kamu, ya. Nah, catatkan ikut format yang saya bagi dan kamu baca, ya. Pertama, kamu mesti faham apa maksud sejarah. Maksud sejarah. Okey, soalan ini boleh keluar dalam soalan struktur. Apakah maksud sejarah? Perkataan atau ayat yang paling mudah untuk menerangkan maksud sejarah. Peristiwa yang berlaku pada masa lalu. Mudah. Peristiwa yang berlaku pada masa lalu. Okey, selepas itu, ini maksud sejarah masa lalu, ya. Peristiwa masa lalu. Pas apa yang sudah berlaku. Apa yang akan berlaku esok bukan sejarah. Faham? Yang mesti sudah berlaku. Sudah berlaku. Nah, nombor 2. Pengertian sejarah ini boleh jadi soalan struktur, ya. Pengertian sejarah, kamu perlu faham pengertian sejarah berdasarkan bahasa Melayu BM. Kamus Dewan dan Bahasa Inggeris. BM, Kamus, BI. 3. Catatkan seperti yang saya bagi ini. Sebab bila kamu belajar begini, sistematik. Ini semua kamu boleh baca. Kalau kamu dah salin begini, kamu boleh buat ulang kaji dengan cepat. Kamu tak perlu buang masa. Faham? Kamu tahu apa yang kamu nak lihat. Nah, perkataan bahasa Melayu ini ada kaitan dengan bahasa Arab. Asalnya daripada bahasa Arab. Apa perkataan bahasa Arab tersebut? Yang merujuk kepada sejarah. Syajaratun. 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 So, bahasa Melayu, lukia-lukia maknanya bahasa Melayu telah pinjam perkataan syajarah. Syajarah ini bertukar menjadi sejarah. Ingat, kita sedang kaji erti perkataan sejarah. Jadi kita mula dengan melihat asalnya. Asalnya daripada perkataan syajaratun. Can you see the first few word? First few letter? Syajarah. So dari situ asal perkataan sejarah. Okey. Dalam bahasa Arab, syajaratun membawa maksud pokok. Pokok. Okey, ini kamu jangan salah faham. Pokok bukan bermaksud copy first. Pokok bukan bermaksud pokok ini look at the word. Pokok bukan bermaksud pokok ini. Pokok yang dimaksudkan dalam sejarah ini ialah salasilah ataupun keturunan, riwayat. Maksudnya, why kita guna perkataan pokok? Because have you heard the word family tree? That means, okay, ini datuk kamu telah kahwin dengan nenek kamu, and then kamu ayah kamu lahir dan ayah kamu telah berkahwin dengan ibu kamu dan kamu lahir. Can you see this? So this is the pokok we are talking about. You understand? This is the pokok. So the word syajaratun membawa maksud pokok. Pokok bukan bermaksud pokok yang kita maksudkan dalam tumbuhan, tetapi salasilah, keturunan. Itu ialah daripada perkataan bahasa Melayu. Perkataan bahasa Inggeris, Kamus Dewan dulu, sama maksudnya, asal usul, keturunan. Asal usul atau keturunan. Kamus Dewan juga menerangkan tentang peristiwa yang benar-benar berlaku. Benar-benar berlaku. Now, this is very important. Benar-benar berlaku. Ini daripada Kamus Dewan. Benar-benar berlaku, it must actually happen. Not simply a story from grandmother or grandfather. So, how do you know it benar-benar berlaku? Macam mana kita nak tahu peristiwa itu benar-benar berlaku? Bagaimana kita nak tahu? Bagaimana kita nak tahu peristiwa itu benar-benar berlaku? Yes, buat kajian. Soalannya ialah, kenapa kita buat kajian? Kita buat kajian untuk melihat sama ada peristiwa itu benar-benar berlaku. Jadi selepas buat kajian, apa yang sedang anda perincikan, anda sedang kaji untuk lihat, cari, apa yang anda sedang cari? Bukti, mesti ada bukti. Sebab itu kita buat kajian. We want proof, bukti. Dan bukti-bukti ini hanya boleh dicari melalui kajian. Sebab itu kita buat kajian. Jadi kajian kita mesti betul. Sebab itu nanti kamu akan belajar tentang kaedah kajian. You know, later you'll be studying kaedah lisan, kaedah bertulis and all that. You know? And why we have that kaedah? Because we want to find for the bukti. So if our kaedah is wrong, our bukti will not be strong. Then if the bukti is not strong, it cannot be sejarah. Because sejarah must be peristiwa yang benar-benar berlaku. Buktinya mesti cukup kuat. Kalau bukti itu tak cukup kuat, kita tak boleh klasifikasikan perkara itu sebagai sejarah. Kamu faham apa yang saya cakap ni? Untuk mengkategorikan, mengklasifikasikan, menggolongkan sesuatu peristiwa itu sebagai peristiwa bersejarah, kita mesti ada bukti. Untuk mencari bukti, kita mesti ada kaedah. Dan untuk memastikan bukti itu bukti yang mantap, kukuh, kita mesti mempunyai kaedah yang sesuai. Okey. Bahasa Inggeris, perkataan history. You all know this already, ya? His story. Perkataan ini boleh dipecahkan kepada dua. His story. His story. Cerita tentang seseorang. Cerita tentang seseorang. Tapi kamu kena faham, perkataan history ini berasal daripada perkataan Greek Yunani, ya. Perkataan Yunani, apa perkataan Yunani tersebut? Historia. Historia. Historia perkataan Yunani, kemudian bahasa Inggeris pinjam menjadikannya history. So, bagi orang-orang Yunani, orang-orang Greek, you know Greek, ya? Greek dalam BM kita panggil Yunani, ya, sama. Bahasa Greek historia, bahasa Inggris tukar jadi history. Apa maksud historia? History, cerita seseorang. So, bagi orang Yunani, sejarah merupakan cerita seseorang. Faham? Clear about this? Okay, we move on, ya. I give you 1 minute. You want to copy anything, you copy, ya. Check properly. It's not difficult at all, but easily you can have questions from here. Actually, I shouldn't be teaching like this because it's already taking a lot of time, huh? But I'm going into detail of this because this is basic. So you must know this properly because we are studying sejarah now. So you have to know this. Dan don't ask for nota. Nota in the buku text good enough already. Nota from any of your buku ulang kaji good enough. Now the problem is only one thing. Do you understand? That's all. So you have to read again, and any question if you don't understand, you have to ask me. Then I can spend time explaining the part that you don't understand. Kalau tidak, kita akan teruskan. Okay. Nombor 3. Nombor 3. Tadi kamu salin nombor 2, right? Check your nota. Did you copy number 2 just now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now number 3. Pengertian sejarah. Pengertian sejarah mengikut sejarawan. Mengikut sejarawan. Kamu ada Herodotus. Herodotus. E.H. Carr. Ibnu Khaldun, Professor Kukai Kim, and you got Muhammad Yusuf Ibrahim. Muhammad Yusuf Ibrahim, just remember Muhammad Yusuf will do. Lihat papan putih. Ini adalah contoh soalan daripada bahagian ini. Standard, soalan standard. Saya bagi satu lagi poin untuk ini. Can you tell me the answer? Siapa tokoh? Kita masih lagi mengkaji pengertian means maksud, maksud sejarah mengikut pandangan sejarawan. Sejarawan maksudnya ahli sejarah. Tadi kita lihat maksud sejarah secara umum. Sekarang kita lihat maksud sejarah mengikut tokoh-tokoh berikut. Mereka boleh beri definisi yang berbeza sedikit. Yes, it's peradaban. Peradaban. Kita masih lagi mengkaji maksud sejarah, tapi mengikut ahli sejarah. Paham? Still maksud sejarah, but what the ahli sejarah? Hello, let's say I'm the ahli sejarah. Let's say I'm ahli sejarah. I'm not ahli sejarah, I'm only cikgu sejarah. But let's say I'm ahli sejarah. You're asking me, sir, in your opinion, what do you think sejarah is? So I said, sejarah merupakan peristiwa yang telah berlaku dan memberikan kesan yang mendalam ke atas kehidupan sesebuah masyarakat. Dan kesan daripada peristiwa itu kekal dan diingati sehingga pada hari ini. Bagi saya itu maksud sejarah. That's my maksud, you know. You understand not? If they ask, apakah maksud sejarah mengikut Siva, then you have to write what I told you. What I told you, my maksud. Remember not? Peristiwa yang telah berlaku. I didn't simply say, that's my real maksud. You, seriously. But for me, the peristiwa must be, the most important part of the peristiwa, telah beri kesan ke atas masyarakat. Don't you think so? Telah beri kesan kepada masyarakat. You cannot say any peristiwa yang berlaku pada masa lalu is sejarah. Just now sejarah is peristiwa yang telah berlaku, correct or not? I want to ask you, let's say 2 years back, you ate roti canai. Hello? 2 years back, in one of the mama shop, tepi jalan, you ate roti canai. Is it peristiwa yang telah berlaku? Is it cerita seseorang? Yes, isn't it? Is this sejarah? For me, no. Just because it happened 2 years ago, mama shop, you ate roti canai, it cannot be peristiwa sejarah. But I changed the same contoh. 2 years back, in the mama shop, you ate roti canai. After that, 2 years back, same shop, you ate roti canai in the mama shop. After that, you went back home, 2 years back. You went back home after eating the roti canai. You got diarrhea. You went to toilet 20 times. Something burst. And then you went to hospital, admitted in the hospital. And then the hospital did all the kajian, said the food poisoning. And then Kementerian Kesihatan went back to the roti canai shop where you at, and the shop was, they all tutup the shop, closed down the shop. You understand? Is it peristiwa bersejarah now? It beri kesan, isn't it? It must beri kesan. But that kesan is only for you. So for you, it can be peristiwa bersejarah, but the real peristiwa bersejarah mesti telah meninggalkan kesan ke atas masyarakat, must affect the country or the community. You understand or not? Are you clear with this? Just because it happened last time, we cannot simply say it's sejarah. So each tokoh is very interesting if you can study, and then I want you to choose which tokoh said it beautifully. Which tokoh you think said and explained, wow, brilliant lah, this one. This is sejarah. Actually, you'll find my pengertian is the best. But don't use my name in exam. It's not in the buku text. Later, they are going to put in. I think they should write. Okay. Now, so what the exam question they will ask is this. The exam question will ask you like this. They will take the keywords from each tokoh. They will put it like this. Okay? Okay, sejarah, maksud means this is the maksud, sejarah. And which tokoh said it like this? And this is one of my favorite tokoh actually. I like this, what this tokoh said. You all know or not? If you cannot answer this, hello, problem lah. This is very basic. Which tokoh said this? Answer is Ibnu. Hello. The pronunciation is Ibnu. Ibnu. Arab word. Don't go and Ibn. Or, sir, the IBM card, please, Ibnu Khaldun. Ibnu Khaldun said this. Ibnu Khaldun. This is the answer. That's a contoh soalan. So please go back, revise, and just take 1-2 keywords like this from each tokoh. Can you do this? Just take few keywords. You will be able to answer the question. This is number 3. Have you taken down? Please, Arvid. Anything? Number 4, and you, for me, this is very, very important. Kamu perlu peruntukkan masa yang panjang untuk bahagian ini. Sumber sejarah. Peruntukkan lebih banyak masa untuk belajar sumber sejarah. Okey, kalau kamu tak faham, saya akan terangkan kepada kamu apa maksud sumber sejarah. Kelas, listen ya. Don't memorize without understanding. Understand then memorize. Are you clear or not? If you simply memorize without understanding anything, you cannot answer question ya. Apa maksud sumber sejarah? Sumber sejarah means what? Asal fakta. Asal fakta tersebut. From where the facts come from. Dari mana fakta itu datang. You understand now? Itu maksud sumber sejarah. Sumber sejarah means the source of the facts. From where you get the facts. From where? Ada 2 sumber, right? Primer, sekunder. Primer, sekunder. Listen. Hello, please look here. In your buku text, in all the buku language, they already told you. It's already there. What is sumber primer? What is sumber sekunder? That one you can hafal. I'm not going to waste time on that. If I'm going to repeat that, no point you're sitting here, no point I'm standing here. I don't want to waste your time, waste my time. I'm going to explain to you how to study this, how not to make mistakes. So we focus on that. Don't expect me to list down all the sumber. That's what all the teachers also will do. It's all in all the books that you have. It's everywhere. My job is to explain to you what the hell is this primer sekunder. That's my job. First, you have to understand sumber sejarah. Sumber sejarah means asal fakta. From where the facts come from. Okay, I give you an example, very simple. Let's say this is Tunku Abdul Rahman. Tunku Abdul Rahman. Okay, by the way, you all know who is Tunku Abdul Rahman, no? I thought I took one example that everybody should know. You know Tunku Abdul Rahman? Not the roti canai seller or the mama shop name, huh? Hello? Siapa Tunku Abdul Rahman? Penjual roti canai di... Hello, who is Tunku Abdul Rahman? Bapa kemerdekaan. Bapa kemerdekaan. So Tunku Abdul Rahman say something. Let's say Tunku Abdul Rahman say, we are lazy. We are lazy. I change we to Malaysians are lazy. Malaysians are lazy. Who said this? Tunku Abdul Rahman said this. Okay? Of course, Tunku Abdul Rahman no more. Huh? Somebody want to ask, where is he? No, he died already. He passed away already, long time ago. Okay, Oh, he died already, long time ago. Now, how come he said this? When he was alive, he said this. When he was alive, he said this. Okay? When he was breathing alive, he said this. Wow, must explain like this, huh? Okay. Malaysians are lazy. Tunku Abdul Rahman. Example only, yeah? If this comes from Tunku Abdul Rahman's mouth, his own mouth, okay? Or he write in his diary. You all keep diary or not? You all write, don't have diary. Why? You scared your mother, father will read. Keep blood. That's how
I'm also lazy.
That's how I got nice whacking with the belt lah. You know, last time I keep diary, I wrote lah. Today went for fishing with friends, then fell down the river, and then my friend helped me to pull me to this. I wrote in the diary, you know, my father opened the diary, he was reading through that one. I was standard 4 that time 4. So I, you know, because my teacher in school said must keep diary very good, you know. So I wrote all that. One night my father waked me up. I said, why? Today where you went? So I went to friend's house. I liked that. Then brought out the diary and said, what is this? No, I just wrote story. You don't lie to me. Took out the belt and smashed me nicely. From that day, no more diary. No more diary. Yo, I don't know I'm telling right thing or not. No, okay, huh? Keep it. Just keep it. Tunku Abdul Rahman wrote in the diary, Malaysians are lazy. Okay, I want to ask you now, is this primer or secunda? Primer or secunda? Okay, primer. If Tunku Abdul Rahman himself said, I need to explain this, that's all I'm going to do this for this part. You understand this, you solve all the problem. If Tunku Abdul Rahman himself, let's say somebody record his voice, you already got to record his voice. Primer or secunda? If Tunku Abdul Rahman himself said, Tunku Abdul Rahman himself said, primer lah. He said what? Primer, he said. This kind of thing is primer. Sir, what the hell is primer now? Primer means original. Original sauce. Not chili sauce or not sauce, sumber, original sauce from the horse's mouth, original. You got it? So think like that. Primer means original, asal, asli. You know what's original, right? The first sauce, the first. So any questions you get, sumber, primer, sumber, secunda, you just think original or not original. You understand or not? If original, primer. Are you clear? I changed the contour. Huh? Look at the board. Huh? Look at the board, please. I change. Wait. I think since I already gave you this contour, this is sumber sejarah, right? Primer, sekunder. Okay? So let's do this now. Okay, I think I better explain this now. Okay, ini satu sumber primer, satu sumber sekunder. And dua contoh I give you here, both ialah primer because original from Tunku Abdul Rahman's mouth, from Tunku Abdul Rahman's diary. Okay, let's say, listen carefully. Let's say you take this, and then you kaji. You kaji what? You kaji the diary. And then you kaji what Tunku Abdul Rahman said. You kaji, katakan wawancara that Tunku Abdul Rahman said. Give the interview that Tunku Abdul Rahman gave. Okay, you kaji. Both from Tunku Abdul Rahman, and both primer, right? Both primer. If you kaji the diary, it become kajian what? What kajian is that? Kajian sumber what? Kaedah what? Sorry, use the word kaedah. Kaedah what? What kaedah? Kaedah means cara. Hello, cara. What kaedah is that? Diary is written, isn't it? So it is kaedah bertulis, correct? Kaedah bertulis. If let's say wawancara, kaedah what? Lisan. Lisan. If you interview somebody, it is lisan. So, my point is this, listen carefully. This is the difference. Sumber is different, kaedah is different. Sumber means kita nak kaji asal, from where the fakta comes from. Kaedah means what format the sumber is. Is it written one, or is it in the form of interview? Is it audio, video? You understand or not? So got dua tajuk here. The one we are doing is sumber sejarah. After this, we will study what? Kaedah. Kaedah got three kaedah, right? What are the three kaedah? Bertulis, lisan, and archaeology. Bertulis, lisan, archaeology. Don't worry about this three, I'll come back later. But I'm explaining now. After this, we go to kaedah. Do you understand or not? I'm waiting for you, please. Are you clear now? You must differentiate these two parts, huh? Okay, good. You must differentiate this part. First is what is sumber. Sumber means from where we take the fakta. From where? Dari mana kita ambil fakta itu. After this, number 5, we are going to study kaedah. Kaedah means apa cara kita guna. So cara ada 3. Kita akan bincang nanti. So we'll focus dengan sumber. We are still here. Do you understand? You already understand what is primer, correct? Original from the horse's mouth. Now, what is secunda? Okay, let's say newspaper. Surat Khabar The Sun. Surat Khabar The Sun. Okay. Keluar berita ini. Diary Tunku Abdurrahman telah ditemui. Diary Tunku Abdurrahman telah ditemui. Dalam diary tersebut, Tunku Abdurrahman telah menyatakan rakyat Malaysia malas. This one is primer or seconder? Same thing, huh? Rakyat Malaysian lazy, same thing. Who said? Tunku Abdurrahman said. But came out in the sun. Primer or seconder?
Secunda.
Why seconder? Correct, seconder. All you have to know is why. Why seconder?
Because telah ditafsir.
Okay, you use the word telah ditafsir, telah diolah, telah diubah sesuai. Correct. What's the meaning? What's the meaning? The meaning is it is not original. Already been modified. Are you clear? Already been modified. Let's say my mother said Siva is naughty. My mother said Siva is naughty. And then my sister told her friend, hey, you know what? My mom said, my brother Siva, he is lazy. Got it? Question, huh? What my mother said, primer or seconder? What my mother said is primer, original, right? My sister also said same thing, right? Siva is lazy. What my sister said is primer or seconder?
Secunda.
Seconder. Why? Telah diolah, right? Went to another person's hand. You got this? You got this? Itu maksud diolah, ditafsir. That kind of stuff is called seconder. Seconder is like secondary. It's not the first. Secondary. Are you clear? You know what secondary, right? Second hand. Original, second hand. Original, second hand. That's all. You got this? Go and study this. This is quite important. Okay. Now, number 4. Number 5 now. Kaedah. Number 5, we look at kaedah. Penyelidikan sejarah. Kaedah membawa maksud cara. Just now, number 4 is dari mana fakta itu datang. Now, cara kita mau kaji sejarah. Cara kita nak kaji sejarah. Ada berapa cara? Berapa cara? 3. Bertulis. Lain?
Lisan dan arkeologi.
Lisan dan arkeologi. Ada 3 cara. Pay attention to this also. Remember, I give you 2 stars. Okay, bab 1, the number 4, number 5 is the most important one. You can even get essay question from here. Please spend more time mengulang kaji aspek ini. Untuk ketiga-tiga ini, tolong beri perhatian kepada proses. Beri perhatian kepada proses. How they do the kajian. Bagaimana mereka buat penyelidikan. Proses. Jangan hafal semua, faham. First step, second step, third step, what's the steps? Faham? It's all there in your textbook, right? In your nota you got, right? Don't waste time here, huh? I want to confuse you a little bit, okay? Okay, look here. Sumber kaedah bertulis. Is it primer or secondary? Don't straight away answer, think for a while. Kaedah bertulis, is it primer atau sekunder? Okay, answer now.
Primer.
Secondary.
Huh?
Primer.
Primer, louder bit.
Secondary.
Seconder, primer. Okay. Can I tell you something? You didn't understand. Sorry, you didn't understand. You didn't understand. And this is what I don't want to happen. Don't simply say both, yeah? It cannot be both. Simply answer both. Both is or both what? Both what? What is both? The answer depends. Depends. Okay, kita pergi kembali kepada contoh Tunku Abdul Rahman tadi ya. Contoh Tunku Abdul Rahman. Let's say Tunku Abdul Rahman wrote in his diary, right? Malaysians are, what do you wrote? Malaysians are lazy. Is this sumber bertulis diary? Hello? Yes, diary sumber bertulis. Primer or sekunder?
Primer.
Diary Tunku Abdul Rahman tulis primer. Okay, diary Tunku Abdul Rahman tulis primer. Surat khabar The Sun. The diary yang dijumpai, diary yang ditemui mencatatkan Tunku Abdul Rahman menyatakan rakyat Malaysia malas. Sumber bertulis or what? Is this The Sun sumber bertulis?
It is.
It is. Sumber bertulis. This is bertulis, diary is bertulis. This one also bertulis. Correct now? Hello, are you listening? Bertulis, diary also bertulis, The Sun, surat khabar also bertulis. Diary, primer, how about The Sun?
Secunda.
Secondary.
Huh?
Secunda.
Sekunder. You got it? You got it?
Yes.
Two different thing. So I already said just now, number 4, number 5, make sure kamu tahu perbezaannya. Nombor 4 menceritakan dari mana fakta itu datang. Nombor 4. Itu adalah sumber sejarah. Dari mana fakta datang. Nombor 5 ialah kaedah. Apa cara kita kaji fakta itu? Apa cara yang kita guna untuk kaji fakta itu? Dua perkara yang berbeza. Faham? Bab 1, itu bab 1. Dalam bab 1, okey, nombor 6. Saya harap kamu salin ini ya, so that kamu tidak confused dengan nombor 4 dan nombor 5. Ini ialah kaedah. Ini ialah sumber. Ini ialah kaedah. Kaedah bertulis. Sumber primer, sumber sekunder.
Update. Press the admit lah. Why is that so long?
Okey. Nombor 6. Tafsiran sejarah. Tidak begitu penting, but kamu perlu tahu tafsiran sejarah. Wujud perbezaan tafsiran dalam tafsiran sejarah. Wujud perbezaan dalam tafsiran sejarah. Wujud perbezaan dalam tafsiran sejarah. Saya bagi contoh, halo, nota kamu boleh baca sendiri ya. Saya bagi contoh supaya kamu faham. Kamu kenal, ya kamu mesti kenal sebab kamu sudah di tingkatan 3. Pernah dengar nama Datuk Maharaja Lela? Yes or no?
Pernah.
Okey. Apa yang telah Datuk Maharaja Lela lakukan?
Mencabar perjanjian.
Membunuh J.W.W. Birch.
Very good. Datuk Maharaja Lela telah bunuh James Wheeler Woodford Birch. Hello. This one pronounced as Birch. James Wheeler Woodford Birch. This guy killed him. This guy is British guy. Warga negara British. Ini rakyat Perak. Bunuh Maharaja bunuh Birch. Question. Hero Datuk Maharaja Lela, I'm asking you this question. Datuk Maharaja Lela ialah hero atau villain? Villain means orang jahat. Dia ialah hero atau villain? Hero you know, villain orang jahat. So, Datuk Maharaja Lela ialah hero atau villain? Cepat sikit, hero atau villain? Answer?
Hero, sir.
Hero? Can you please on the camera, please come to the screen. I feel more comfortable that way. Yeah, someone said it nicely. Kita mau lihat daripada kacamata British. Kalau kita lihat daripada kacamata British, for British, villain. British will answer he's a villain, orang jahat. Kalau dari kacamata penduduk tanah Melayu, dia ialah hero. So, he can be hero, he can be villain. Mengapa wujud tafsiran berbeza? This will be the question. Why dua tafsiran? same peristiwa, but dua tafsiran. Correct no? Got dua tafsiran, isn't it? Interpretation. Same peristiwa. Why? What's the answer? Bergantung pada sumber. Someone said, from where you read. If you read buku teks sejarah Malaysia, Dato' Mahathir ialah hero. Kalau kamu baca buku teks sejarah Britain, dia ialah villain. Kedua ialah ideologi, fahaman, pemahaman seseorang. We all understand things differently at different level, correct no? Apa yang cara saya faham berbeza dengan cara kamu faham. So tafsiran boleh jadi berbeza. Kadang-kadang pendapat berbeza. You understand or not? That's all. The nota is all in your textbook. So you must be able to answer this question. And then the question of why this difference is important. Kepentingan tafsiran yang berbeza. Kepentingan tafsiran yang berbeza. This fellow say hero, this fellow say it will encourage us to read more, menggalakkan pembacaan, kajian. You understand? Kita boleh lihat sesuatu peristiwa daripada sudut pandangan yang berbeza, menggalakkan pemikiran kritis. Are you clear now? So it's a good thing to have pendapat yang berbeza. This plus my point is we don't have time. I'm giving you tips for what possible exam question. And at the same time, kamu kena faham. I'm doing this too, and it's not easy. And we don't have time. I have to rush. Okay, last one. Please copy down which one I'm telling you important. The last part. Sorry, what's the number now? Remind me the number.
7.
7 ya. Last one, kepentingan sejarah. Kepentingan mempelajari sejarah. Kepentingan mempelajari sejarah. Also very easy. Okay, dalam buku teks awak mungkin ada banyak fakta, tetapi kamu boleh hafal 3 atau 4. Cukup untuk kamu jawab soalan. 3 atau 4. Untuk kepentingan mempelajari sejarah. Paling penting kenapa kita harus belajar ialah kerana iktibar. Belajar daripada peristiwa masa lalu. Kita boleh hidup dengan lebih bersatu padu. Boleh menggalakkan semangat patriotisme. This you read and then I'm not going to give you full notes. It's all everywhere the nota. Just take the keyword. Faham? And then you can hurai yourself. You cannot go wrong. Your teacher cannot say wrong already. So my tips for you, get the keyword. That example I'm giving you the keyword. Just get the keyword. Mengenali asal usul. Jangan cuba hafal satu ayat Are you clear now? Jangan hafal keywords, then kamu boleh hurai. Just hurai. Iktibar. Let's say your BM is so thorough, everything bad, but you remember kepentingan belajar sejarah ialah iktibar. You can just say, kita dapat belajar sesuatu, just like that, you can write your essay already. So with just the word iktibar, just use this and then can hurai yourself. That's the end of chapter 1, bab 1. Hello? Okay, bab 2. Zaman air batu. Okey, untuk bab ni kamu mesti bijak dalam mengatur strategi untuk mengulang kaji. Kalau kamu baca everything, nothing you're going to understand. Okay, follow the steps that I give you step by step. What are the areas that kamu mesti fokus dan hafal bahagian mana? Okay, zaman air batu. Ketahui dulu contoh lautan dan benua. Contoh lautan dan benua. Kenali beberapa contoh lautan dan contoh benua. Contohnya ada berapa benua? Ada berapa benua? Benua means a big piece of land. Pada satu-satu benua kadang-kadang ada beberapa negara. Dalam satu-satu benua itu akan wujud beberapa negara. Contoh seperti benua Amerika Utara. Ada Kanada, ada Meksiko, ada Amerika Syarikat. Kadang-kadang satu benua, satu negara. Only. Faham? I repeat, kadang-kadang satu benua, satu, only satu negara. Kadang-kadang sebuah benua banyak negara. Contoh tadi, satu benua banyak negara, Amerika Utara. Boleh kamu bagi contoh satu negara, satu benua? Australia, contoh. Satu benua, satu negara. Tak begitu penting, tapi membantu kalau kamu tahu. Kalau kamu tahu. Ya, Eropah and all that. Okay? Got no time, move on. Ini boleh membantu ya, sebab ini adalah asas. Nombor 2. Tahap-tahap zaman air batu. Tahap-tahap zaman air batu. Penting untuk kamu hafal tahap-tahap zaman air batu. Kita ada tahap Miocene, Pliocene, Pliocene, Holocene, all this, right? Hello? Okay, cara kamu hafal hanya ambil dua perkataan pertama. Semuanya sen there. Okay, the first one, Miocene, Mio. Okay, just hafal Mio. Nombor 2, Pilo. Like that. Sorry, Plio. Pliocene. Plio. Third one, Pilesto. Last one, Holo. See here? MPPH. Mio, Plio, always have problem with this. Plio, Pilesto, Holo. MPPH. Soalan struktur. Soalan struktur boleh menanyakan kamu untuk namakan. Jadi, kamu guna formula ini. Anyway, you check the spelling properly. Maybe I'm doing fast. I would have written wrongly. Check the spelling is all in your textbook. My concern is how you memorize this. MPPH. MPPH. Yeah, clear spelling. Yeah. Just correct that. Correct the spelling. MPPH. Check again. Try to hafal. Kadang-kadang wujud perbezaan dari segi ejaan antara buku ulang kaji dengan buku teks, ya. Because buku teks, hold on. I'll discuss the town later. Hold on. I'm still here. I want to, because some students ask me this, sir, you spell like this, why you're spelling like this? Your buku text made a lot of mistakes, yeah? A lot of mistakes. Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, Form 5, all the textbook, a lot of mistakes. Okay? Some of your buku ulang kaji spell it properly. So, but you stick to your buku text, But you ask me, sometimes I will follow the other books that I read. So you stick to your buku text, the spelling, yeah? Sometimes your teacher also might change the spelling. You follow buku text. Don't be confused, that's small matter. Okay, MBPH is the formula. Check again, can you remember the four names? Okay, for this tahap zaman air baku, the most important thing, M, you must know the ciri-ciri. P, you must know the ciri-ciri. Another P, you must know the ciri-ciri. Hollow, another H, you must know the ciri-ciri. So one of the things that you see here, they give you a lot of town here, right? If some buku ulang kaki, they tell you from which town to which town and all this. And sometimes they say berlaku antara 2 tahun, antara 23 hingga 5 juta tahun dulu, 5.3 hingga 26, 2. Hello, I myself cannot remember. This is really not important for sejarah. You got it? Not important. I myself, I don't bother to remember. This is not sejarah. The town is not sejarah. Your exam question, the actual exam question, I don't know about your teachers, because some teachers also don't know about this. They go and ask town. This is not sejarah. You know why in sejarah we have town? Can you tell me why every time when you study sejarah about town? What's the importance of town? Why got town? It is not for you to hafal. The town is just there to tell you when it happened, right? Because semua pun merupakan peristiwa yang telah berlaku. Kalau telah berlaku, Tunku Abdurrahman said, which year? Dinosaur tidak wujud. Bila dinosaur pupus? Okay. Now the question is, dinosaur pupus dahulu or Tunku Abdurrahman said first? Which one comes first? We all know Tunku Abdurrahman comes later, dinosaur first, pupus dulu. So that's the importance of town. Without the town, semuanya peristiwa yang telah berlaku, telah berlaku. When? Which one comes first? Which one comes second? This is why we have the chronology. To let you know, chronology means which one comes first, which one comes second. Ini adalah rentetan peristiwa. Town is there for that purpose. It is there for that purpose, to tell you which one happened first, which one happened next. Are you clear? But you're not supposed to have to hafal the town. You're supposed to know the fakta what happened. In case you are not sure which one happened first, which one happened second, then only you go to town. Are you clear? If you want to check or you need to know. So what is important for all this is the ciri-ciri. You cannot run away from that. This one you must hafal. Just to give you some tips, each one cuba hafal 3 ciri. Good enough. 3 ciri. Cari kata kunci. For example, for first one, Neo, panas dan kering. Kamu tak perlu buat nota ringkas. Kamu boleh just guna highlighter, highlight kata-kata kunci. Dan baca balik kata kunci tersebut yang kamu telah highlight. Kamu faham? Kamu nak buat nota ringkas? No problem. Saya timbang kamu kesuntukan masa. Jadi apa yang kamu perlu buat ialah kamu just highlight kata-kata kunci. Dan kemudian kamu baca balik. So ini cara yang lebih efektif dan jimat masa. You understand? Okay, can I move on? We don't have time, right? Okay, without looking at your nota, can you tell me what is this MBPH? You must know, ini ialah tahap-tahap zaman air baku, M ialah Check for yourself. No need to tell me. Just check for yourself quickly.
Miocene, Pilocene, Pleistocene, Holocene.
Okay. Easier to remember? Easier? Okay. Sometimes the question just asks you to give the name only. When you give the name, follow the spelling in the textbook, yeah? Follow the spelling in the textbook. Not buku ulang kaji, yeah? Okay. Next one, number 3. Ciri-ciri zaman air batu akhir. Just now is ciri-ciri zaman air batu, right? This is akhir is the key word, huh? Akhir. For this, first thing you look at kesan zaman air batu first. Look here, huh? Zaman air batu and then zaman air batu akhir. Zaman air batu akhir. So, zaman air batu telah beri kesan-kesan kepada kewujudan zaman air batu akhir. Lihat kesan-kesan tersebut. Contoh, paras air laut meningkat. You know that? Paras air laut meningkat. That's one kesan. Cuaca tidak lagi sejuk. That's kedua kesan. Very important to look at the kesan-kesan zaman air batu. Now, this is more important. Okay, spend time here. We are looking at ciri-ciri zaman air batu akhir. Zaman air batu. Just now is ciri-ciri zaman air batu only. This one akhir. You take these two, put side by side, lihat perbezaannya. That's how you study this, so that you don't get confused. Kamu paham? Lihat ciri-ciri zaman air batu dan lihat ciri-ciri zaman air batu akhir. Bezakan kedua-duanya. Apa perbezaannya? Kamu akan faham dengan lebih baik. When you study this part, this will sound more like geography than sejarah, isn't it? Did you find like that? It sound more like geography. So some of you who are not so good in geography will find this bit different, huh? Next one, perubahan zaman air batu akhir. Perubahan zaman air batu akhir. Perubahan di sini sama maksud dengan kesan atau implikasi. Kesan atau implikasi. Kamu perlu lihat soalannya, apa kehendak soalan itu. Kalau soalan tanya perubahan, kesan, implikasi, maksudnya sama. Paham? Membawa maksud yang sama. Kamu kena faham ini, ya. Kadang-kadang saya rasa perkataan kepentingan pun boleh masuk untuk bahagian ini, boleh digunakan kepentingan. So ini penting terutamanya untuk soalan struktur dan esei kamu. Dan tajuk terakhir, nombor 4, di bawah zaman air batu. Nombor 4, kesan ke atas Asia Tenggara. Kesan ke atas Asia Tenggara is the key word here. Same thing, kesan here can be this, these words. This is important. Hello, if I were you, simple, this is number 3, this is number 4. MPPH, for your bab 2, MPPH, the ciri, 1. Number 2 is the ciri-ciri zaman air baku akhir. And number 3, kesan ke atas Asia Tenggara. This should be the focus for your bab 2. I'll wait for you, focus for your bab 2. Anywhere you find got tahun here and there, leave out. If you can remember 1 or 2, okay, but question shouldn't really be asking about tahun. The number 3, number 4 is very, very important. Please spend time there. Any questions? We move on to next chapter, Zaman Prasejarah. Any questions? Okay. Zaman Prasejarah, move on to Zaman Prasejarah. Class, if we have the time, if I have the time, I'll go into detail. Kita akan rincikan satu-satu perkara dengan mendalam. Kita akan kaji setiap perkataan. Tetapi kamu kena faham, saya hanya ada 6 kelas, dan semua ni kamu diberi masa 1 tahun, Form 1 year to study. And I only have 3 hours to complete. This week and next week. 1.5, next week 1.5 hours. 3 hours, 1 year's work. So I hope you understand. I'm just giving you tips and help wherever possible to make sure you do well. And amat penting selepas kelas pada hari ini, saya nak kamu duduk, kaji balik semua bab yang saya ajar. Faham? Please, kaji balik. Dan minggu depan saya bagi soalan, cuba tengok kamu boleh jawab. Yeah, please. Because when you come to Form 4, Form 5, story change, you have to do a lot of work on your own. So don't depend on your school teacher or any teachers. Because sejarah, the most important thing, you understand, then memorize. You have to do your part. If you follow my class properly, let's say we have time, and then I will do 70% of the work. You do 30%. Still, you need to do your work. Zaman Prasejarah. Apa maksud perkataan pra di sini? Apa maksud perkataan pra? What's the meaning of pra? Don't answer.
Early years.
Pra is pre. I know pra, English pre, Tamil something, and German. What's the actual meaning?
Early ages.
Sorry?
Early ages.
No. The word pra means before or sebelum. This is important, important tips for you. We have pre. Pre means before. What is the word you give for post? After. Post. After means, hello, look at the board. MCO, right? Now got MCO. Before MCO, after MCO. Before MCO, pre-MCO. After MCO, post-MCO. Post means after. So
Teacher.
Here is the word sejarah. Okay, the word sejarah is here. So we said pra, right? Prasejarah. Prasejarah means sebelum sesuatu peristiwa itu direkod, sebelum ada rekod bertulis. This one after sudah ada rekod bertulis. Sudah ada rekod bertulis. Ini bezanya. So when we say something prasejarah, we want to study zaman prasejarah. Bermaksud zaman prasejarah ini tidak ada rekod bertulis. Awak faham? Kalau kita sebut kita nak kaji zaman prasejarah, bermaksud zaman prasejarah ini tidak ada rekod bertulis. No rekod bertulis.
Teacher,
Ya.
could I say if zaman prasejarah means zaman sebelum manusia mengenali tulisan?
Same meaning to this. Yes, of course. Belum mengenali tulisan. Belum mengenali tulisan membawa maksud mereka tidak ada tulisan. Kerana mereka tidak ada tulisan, maka mereka tak boleh rekodkan peristiwa yang berlaku secara bertulis. Oleh itu tidak ada rekod bertulis. Correct?
Got it.
Okay. Zaman manusia belum mengenali tulisan. Correct. Okay. This is important for you to understand. I don't think they're going to be exam question. But what's the effect of this? After this, you understand better when you read. That's what I want. You have copied this? Okay. Otherwise, sejarah going to be very boring if you're just going to study without understanding. Okay. We got how many zaman? Basically got two zaman, right? Zaman batu and zaman logam. We look at zaman batu first. Zaman batu, you got three: Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic. Okay, again, I don't want to waste time here. Again, what you need to know is ciri-ciri. For all these three, you cover the ciri-ciri. Ciri-ciri. Again, ciri-ciri. It can be quite tiring, but quite boring also this part. But you've got no choice. Be patient. Just try to memorize how much you can. Maybe you can divide this into tempat tinggal,
Kesenian,
no, don't go there. Tempat tinggal, ekonomi, kepercayaan.
organisasi sosial,
Got a lot. I'm trying to help you by saying mostly the question from where. Which part easy to do question? I'm not telling the kesenian all no question. Please understand, because this is revision. I'm just giving you tips. The focus, where will be the focus? Otherwise, I'm giving you everything. Then better you study on your own. No need to follow my class. Am I right? So, from my experience, the focus should be here. I mean, they can give you 3 points and ask, this is which zaman? Is it Paleolithic, Neolithic, or Mesolithic? Basically, this 3 is the most popular one. Tempat tinggal refers to lokasi, ya. Sometimes they use the word lokasi. Okay, if you force me into this 3 is the most popular one. If you want, you can look at like your friend said, maybe you can look at kesenian. This is number 4. But focus more on these 2. Little bit on tempat tinggal and kesenian. That means, what the hell you are telling, sir? I'm telling you this. That means, memorize more on this for these 3. Get to know tempat tinggal kesenian a little bit. I try to cut short your time, so that you don't memorize a lot. Okay? Okay. Very important, after you do this, is sumbangan. This can be your essay question. Number 2, sumbangan zaman prasejarah. Sumbangan zaman prasejarah. You know what is sumbangan, right? This one, I think, is very, very important. Your buku text got a lot of points for this, right? Sumbangan. If you're smart enough, for example, okay, sumbangan for pertanian. For pertanian. See how I write this, Activity pertanian yang dijalankan pada zaman prasejarah masih dijalankan hingga kini. Contoh contoh kalau soalan esei contoh. Now, kalau kamu tulis, look at the board, please look at the board, don't be busy copying. I want to tell you something very specific. Kalau kamu tulis zaman, jika kamu tulis begini pada zaman prasejarah, aktiviti pertanian sara diri dijalankan, mereka tanam gandum, barley, bla bla bla. Okay. The question here is sumbangan. So when you read, you must look at sumbangan point. Is this sumbangan? A, sumbangan, or B, you are answering sumbangan? Let's say the question asking, jelaskan sumbangan zaman prasejarah. Is the A answer for this question or B answer for this question?
B.
Someone said C. C?
B.
Technically, it's both A and B.
Why technically? Can you explain?
Well, because B is actually they actually explain the maksud of this activity pertanian. And this A is actually terangkan about the contoh.
Possible. I won't say you're wrong. Possible. But for exam purpose, untuk tujuan peperiksaan, jawapan mesti ditulis begini. Ini boleh jadi huraian, but tak diperlukan untuk esei. Ini sudah cukup. Sumbangan, tajuk ialah sumbangan. Apa sumbangan zaman prasejarah? Mereka jalankan semua pertanian ini dan kita ikut hingga hari ini. This is the part that get your marks. Focus on this. So you go back to your nota, got a lot of huraian on this part. Don't bother to memorize this so much. Like your friend said, it can be the answer for huraian, but all you want is this part. This is the main part. What is the one diamalkan pada zaman sejarah dan kita ikut hari ini? You got it or not? You read a lot of huraian. Don't waste time on that part.
Yeah, I got it.
Yes. No, this is for everybody. I'm telling everybody. So your focus should be here. What is that zaman prasejarah yang mereka lakukan dan kita ikut hingga hari ini? Ini because focus is on sumbangan. Are you clear? This is very important, very possible exam question on this chapter 3. Okay? And your last part, Zaman Prasejarah di Malaysia. Time is flying here. I try to finish with chapter 3. I can't do chapter 4. I'll continue chapter 4 and make it shorter next week. Sorry, this is number, I lost the number. Number what? Are you copying properly? Number 3, yeah? Okay. Zaman Prasejarah di Malaysia. Zaman Prasejarah di Malaysia. That's your number 3. Again, ciri-ciri. Focus will be on ciri-ciri. Ciri-ciri. Same thing, got 4 here. Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, logam. Here we add the logam. This 3 one zaman, this is another zaman, right? Logam. Ciri-ciri, yeah. What I think, again, I'm telling lokasi. Okay, got many, right? You know, got many points. I'm giving my opinion. Economy. They love to ask on lokasi, economy, kepercayaan. These 3 is the main focus. Okay, tips for you, another tips for you. Lokasi, okay, let's say Paleolithic. Look at the board, please. Paleolithic, let's say the lokasi A, lokasi B, lokasi C, lokasi D. Let's say they give example, all these ialah lokasi zaman Paleolithic. Let's say they give, ini ialah lokasi zaman Paleolithic. All you have to do, cut the 2 down, just remember 2, the top one. Understand? No point memorizing all the lokasi, just 2, so that you can relate this is Paleolithic. The other contoh lidi. You got it? Okay. I'm not telling there will be no other question like technology, kesenian, all that, yeah? But I'm telling you, focus more on this. I'm not just asking study this, huh? Are you clear or not? So you want to know where the essay question, structure question, easy to do? This is the part. Focus more on this.